理想同学，
我在，
打开窗户。
正在打开主驾车窗。
Now, I just asked it to open the window, and it knows that it's me that was talking, and I already opened the window on my side. This is the Lixiang 1, and my name is Fei Yan. You're watching Rev China. I have been driving for over 20 years, and over the years, I have driven the likes of Mercedes, BMW, Fiat, and all sorts of cars. Some of them cheap, some of them luxurious. My last car was a Volvo XC60. I loved it. But for the last 6 months, I've been driving this car, the Li 1. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about why I switched to this car, and also the interior, the exterior, and how this car drives on the road. And the first, the most important reason for the change is cost. I mean, a lot of you might have experienced the hiking in petrol prices of the last year. Some places might have doubled or even tripled their prices. It's not so bad here in China, but the price of petrol of super unleaded has increased from 6.5 to 9.5 RMB. That's about 50%. I have been driving about 1,800 kilometers a month. And I'm now going to compare the XC60, which is my last car, and the Li 1. I paid a total of 1,033 RMB for electricity over the last 3 months. So that is about 344 per month, or 4,100 per year. I also paid 42 liters of petrol, and that works about 2,022 RMB per year at the same rate. And my XC60, it was consuming 12 liters of petrol per 100 kilometers. So at the same rate and the same mileage I'm doing, it will cost me about 24,000 RMB for petrol alone. And now let's talk about insurance. Insurance for electric and hybrid cars are significantly lower than petrol cars here in China. So my first insurance for the Li 1 was about 6,000 RMB, and the ongoing insurance cost for my Volvo XC60 was 10 grand. And also there is the cost of servicing. The servicing for my Li is actually free, which is included in a 999 RMB per year package. And in that package, you also get unlimited data and your free memberships for streaming video apps, etc. For my XC60, that is also around 10,000 RMB per year. So in total, the Li 1 cost me per year of 13,000 RMB, and the XC60 is about 44,000 RMB per year. And that is a saving of 31 grand, or 4,600 US dollar. But the second reason, and this reason might not apply to all of you, is to ease air pollution and congestion. China has introduced driving restrictions, which means if you're driving a petrol car, one day of the week you cannot be on the road. If you're found on the road by the police or caught by a camera, you'll be fined by a small amount, which is fine, but you'll also be having a 1-point penalty. You only have 12 points on your license, so you don't really have many chances. But this restriction doesn't really apply to electric or hybrid cars, which means you get to drive 1 more days per week, and that is 52 days per year. First thing you're going to see about this car is this one line of daily running light. It's quite a signature of this car. And below it is a huge black grille, and it looks quite impressive. There are a few creases on the bonnet of this car. It gives a presence to everyone's looking at it. And on the side, you certainly feel its length. This car is in black. You have certain trims on the windows and on the top of the car. And then you have 20-inch wheels, a silver running board as well. And over here, these are your charging sockets, fast charging and domestic charging as well. On the other side, you have a similar looking panel, but They are for your petrol tank. On the back of the car, there is a small spoiler on the roof and a similar rear light, which is in one line, similar design as the front light as well. In the middle, you have the Lixiang badge over here, a small diffuser on the bottom of the car. Inside of this car, everywhere you can feel and touch are either covered in soft and squeegee materials or leather. This whole steering wheel is covered by leather, your armrest covered leather, and you have these soft and supporting leather seats as well. One of the most prominent feature about this car, and probably the first thing when you look at the inside of this car, is these 4 screens. You have a driver's display on the side, you have a infotainment system in the middle, you have a small screen on the passenger side which can stream different videos on here, and then you have a small screen down here which controls your air conditioning settings and your other settings as well. And you can also monitor the air quality within the car. Over here, this shows your PM 2.5 levels. In front of you is a large driver's display. On the left hand side, you have a small map, and you also have 2 bars which shows you your range. The green one is your battery range, and the blue one is your petrol range. And in the middle is your driving mode, and on the right hand side, you have your fuel consumption and your temperature gauge over there. And then you can switch between the cars by just long pressing this button here. So this is navigation, this is your music, your fuel consumption, your tire pressure and weather, etc. And you can do the same on the right hand side as well. In the middle, you have a large infotainment screen. So you have your car controls. Over here, you have your navigation. Over here, you have your music here, and your 360-degree camera. So this is your app center. So once you press it and go inside, there are more apps for you to choose from. So these are video streaming apps. You can do karaoke within the car once you connect this to a Bluetooth microphone. You have news, etc. Having introduced all of these controls, you may wonder, right, whilst you are driving, how are you able to do them? But the voice control in this car is really smart. The first thing, it knows where I'm calling. So if it's sitting in the driver's seat, it knows it's the driver that's calling it. 理想同学，
我在，
打开窗户。
正在打开主驾车窗。
Now I've just asked it to open the window, and it knows that it's me that was talking, and I already opened the window on my side. And you can also have a proper conversation with it rather than calling it every time. So for example, if I want to listen to my favorite song, I just need to do this. 理想同学，
请讲，
打开我的，
我的打开了，
我喜欢，
我喜欢，打开了，
第一首，
没问题，
有点太热了。
主驾温度调低了。
So you really don't have to worry about all of these controls. So, and whilst you're driving, you can call the car to do whatever you want it to do. I'm now sitting in the second row, and this car has 3 rows. As you can see, I have a baby over here, and the front is my usual driving position. I still have quite a lot of knee room and tons of headroom. One of the reasons why I'm using this as a daily driver is because I have 2 kids. One of them is 6, the other is 2. And I really do need 6 or 7 seats, and this is a proper 6-seater. So usually I will be driving, and my 2-year-old will be sitting here, my wife will be sitting here, my 6-year-old will be sitting at the back, and everyone is comfortable, and there is still room for the grandparents. I'm now sitting in the 3rd row, and normally this is my son's place. I have to say, it's okay sitting here. It's not for adults for longer journeys, but you know, sitting here for half an hour will be okay for me. The front seat now on the 2nd row is my cameraman's position. He's 5'10", and I have just got 1 fist that can fit into my knee room. I have loads of headroom, which is okay. There is a reading light, which is touch sensitive. I have a speaker for myself. I have an air vent here. I have a cup holder over here. And there is also a USB charging socket, which is quite important for kids to charge up their phones and iPads. I was talking, this car uses electricity and petrol as well because this is a range extender. There are two electric motors, one at the front, one at the back, with a combined 240 kilowatt and 450 newton meters of torque. There is also a petrol engine, but it doesn't drive any of the wheels. Instead, it generates electricity and it charges the battery only. Now, whenever driving this car, I always like to switch on the driving assistance, which is quite easy. So you only need to click this twice and then it's on. So every time I'm on the highway, the motorway, or a closed road, I get the driving assistance on. It saves me a lot of time and energy, especially when I'm driving longer journeys. Now, some people say that range extenders should not be classified as green because at the end of the day, when you're doing longer journeys, you do have to use some petrol. But for me, I think I get the best of both worlds, because for shorter journeys, which is 90% of my day, I drive less than 60 kilometers a day, I use pure electric, and that saves me a lot of money. And for longer journeys, I use petrol sometimes, and that saves me the range anxiety, because putting petrol into my tank takes less than 5 minutes, but charging up a pure electric car, even on a fast charger, takes more than an hour. Now, this car has a 40 kilowatt battery, and on pure electric battery alone, it has a range of WLTC 150 kilometers. But it has a reserve of 17%, so in real life, I'm getting 120 kilometers per charge. And on the petrol, it gets more than 800 kilometers of range. So together, I'm getting really more than 900 kilometers of range per charge. We're now on the third ring road, which is a closed road, so I've got the driving assistant on, my hands free, but I do have to put my hands on it from time to time. The driving position is really good, and the viewing angle, because of this huge windscreen, is fantastic. I can see very clearly what's coming up to me. There are also two huge side mirrors, and they're really clear. Now, the suspension is okay for a car of this price. It's supportive, it feels solid, but you do feel all the potholes and imperfections of the road quite clearly on your bum. And also, because the car is quite high and tall, you do get a lot of body lean when you turn, especially on sharp turns, and that's not a great experience when you're driving at high speed. But having said that, the whole driving experience is really nice, and I do enjoy some time by myself, just sitting in this car, driving with no aim and listening to the music by myself. This car was launched in 2020, and this is the 2021 version. It has been selling for over 13,000 cars per month. And this car is selling more than any other mid to large SUVs in the Chinese market, electric or not. So having listened to all I've said before, would you have made the choice as me? This car costs 338,000 RMB, or which is about 50,000 US dollars. For the same price in the Chinese market, you may only get a mid-ranged Mercedes-Benz C-Class C260. The owner of the company and the CEO of the company is really a great product designer. And this product is designed for a very unique, specific group of people. And these people includes me. So if you have more than one kid, and you can only have one car in the family, and you want the convenience of electric cars, and you also want the range of a petrol car, this is a six-seater that you cannot ignore.